All right, we'll call this select board meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, June 7th. We're at the town office.
January 7th.
January 7th, it's not June. Jody and or Chris, can you guys hear us?
Yes,
Okay,
yes I can.
thanks. Jody, can you hear us? Well, Jody, when you can hear us, let us know. We'll move on. We have some additions to the agenda tonight. We're adding some warrants. We're adding CC8, RB3. And in new business, we're adding the Agency of Transportation road mileage report for the town that we need to sign. A small computer contract for maintenance that needs to be signed. And we'll get a library update in the correspondence for discussion and action. So first on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes of the previous meetings, December 10th, which was a regular meeting, and December 17th, which was a budget meeting.
We have to do those separate.
Oh, we're doing separate.
I wasn't
Okay.
at the 17th, so I did them separately.
All right, so let's do December 10th. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 10th regular meeting.
I'll second that.
A second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes of December 10th, 2025, say aye. Aye. All those against? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the December 17th, 2025 budget meeting.
I'll second it.
Second, do we have any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the December 17th, 2025 budget meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
I'll abstain.
And one abstention. All right, we got a bunch of warrants. It's not me.
Todd,
Yes,
can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, we got a bunch of warrants to do.
Jody needs to mute, I think.
Jody, I'm muting you just because we're getting feedback.
Thank you.
Okay. Sound better? Yep. So we have warrants 13 and 13P, 14 and 14P, Conservation Commission 8 and 9, and Rec Board 3. And I think we can do them all at once. So I'll make a motion, we ratify warrants 13, 13P, 14, 14P, CC8, CC9, and RB3.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussions? Just for background, 113 is the general expenses. It's about $26,000. 13P is payroll, which is $12,900. 14P is also payroll, which is about $12,600. 14 was general expenses, which is just under 17. The Conservation Commission warrants are for $42, I believe, for the domain address, and $126 for some Bluebird workshop materials and more computer stuff, email servers, things like that. And the Rec Board 9 is for $115 for gift cards for an event I believe they had. So all those in favor of approving warrants 13, 13P, 14, 14P, CC8, CC9, and RB3, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right, consider it done. Visitors and public comment. Gail, I have added the library
Right.
for
Thank
the
you.
correspondence. Jack, you want to come on up? So you don't have to stay here all night?
Sure, you want to go first?
No, we're talking about what I brought up later.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Sure. I can sit here if that's okay.
Yeah, come on up. You just don't want to be on camera.
I'll tell you,
Not this much label here as it is.
I was on the board. We changed the orientation of the table. So two of the select board members had their back towards the audience, so there was a little bit of a switch. First thing I gotta do is get your Walker Farm sticker to put next to that Allen Brothers sticker on your
Yeah, well, I have a hat.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So- Professional, it's bribery. So, so real quick, so Jack's here to talk about the Farmland Protection Fund. I think you guys got his correspondence.
Did
A
you
nice
get a chance to
article.
read it, you guys? Or,
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to read Don Campbell's letter from Vermont?
The other one that was attached in the email?
Yeah, there were
Yes,
two of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
So I read that. Yep.
And I was disappointed, as I pointed out, that that the budget was zeroed out for this year, and I wasn't really in favor of the investment. Maybe that I know investments. You know, if you put it in a couple of days ago, they would have shot up today. They would have shot down. You know, it depends on how you invest it, and also, I'm assuming you guys know. How the legality of doing something like that is. I'm sure you check into that before you do it. But the issue I wanted to sort of, and I apologize, I had to write this letter for the views because it was the last day to get it in.
It's never the
last night. So I wanted to wait till after I had the meeting, but Lori said, "Yeah, I got to do my letter too." So,
I gotta do mine.
so I'd always pull it if by some miracle you have a change of heart. So I wasn't sure that you understood how the fund worked, and so I wanted to get Don Campbell and to help explain it. You know that it's as we say, it's never going to buy a farm. You know, to have someone use the land, but it's the funds are used to leverage the buying of or the protection of farmland, the conservation of farmland. And if you saw from Don's email, it was very important for the Vermont Land Trust to see that Dummerston had an active and a very vibrant farmland protection fund, because when it came down to the decision about the Howe farm, which I don't know, most of you guys probably know where that is at the end of the dump road there.
Is that the same as Sweet Tree Farm?
Farrell.
No, it's Old Ferry Road.
Oh, Ferry Road, thank you.
Right.
And it's some of the best land in New England. You know, so it's pretty important that it be conserved. And it was amazing to bring together the two Howe sisters. Some of the other kids weren't particularly interested in doing it. One of the sisters sold some land to Cliff Allard from Al's Lumber Mill. But I was really happy, and I really applaud Cliff for wanting to join in. He said he just wanted to buy that land to help protect his operation. And so they all got together, and there were a number of obstacles in that. They needed an appraisal of the land, and that's usually the Vermont Land Trust will not pay for that. And so they came to the town and they asked if we could help with that. We helped the select board approve $10,000 from the fund to help with the appraisal of that land. That made the whole thing go forward, and that showed that the town was interested in this application. So the other thing that I noted in the letter was that this was one of the most expensive conservation projects per acre that the Land Trust has done. And as you know, probably, I may have come across it already, funds are really tight these days. And the Land Trust is also experiencing some shortages in what they'd like to do. So it's a little competitive about who can get that funding. And I was afraid that if they looked at us and saw that you guys zeroed out the budget of the farmland for this year, that they would say, well, they had a little change of heart, you know. Maybe this other town that has a active and a vibrant protection fund, maybe we should give the money to them. And another thing that it looks like, you know, well, we got plenty of money because we haven't used it that much. We lucked out, and one thing I didn't note in the letter, there was some issue with Vermont Land Trust worried about contamination from the landfill on that property. Fortunately, I had a young woman well, she's not so young now, but she was when she worked with me. She came from Putney School and worked summers with us, became a good friend of us. She's now the head hydrogeologist for the state of Wisconsin. So I sent the maps to her and had her review them. That would have cost probably close to $10,000 to have an official hydrogeologist spend a couple of days going over these maps. She made the opinion, and she came up with a paper that showed that it was geologically impossible for the contamination from the landfill to influence the farmlands. And so Vermont Land Trust was back in the game. And that didn't cost us a dime. The other thing in the letter you might have noticed, that's because that project was so expensive, Don was wanting to come before the select board and ask for some more funds to help, but he didn't want to push you. So we kind of lucked out there. So it might seem like there's funding in there that can handle everything we need, but there really is not a superfluous amount. So I really was hoping that we could continue with the $5,000 addition to the fund, because if anything, and I'm sure you guys know it, if you look around the state of Vermont, who are the places that have the lowest tax rate? It's the places with the most open land, because cows don't send their calves to school, and you don't plow cornfields, so it doesn't take a lot of money to service farmland. And I think it's just a good investment for the town of Dummerston. And we used to have 6 or 7 dairy farms in town. We have none now. We're fortunate that we had a great, which we helped also with the conservation of the Bunker Farm, which is a nice, vibrant operation now. The conservation of the Moore Farm land, where the old Dummerston International Airport used to be. And, then we hit the lottery, really, when Bill Schmidt convinced Tony Crisosimo to conserve the Ranny Farm. Southern Vermont Engineering had laid out the west side of Route 5 for 30 homes. Okay, and now there's cows grazing there. Do you know what 30 homes would have done to the tax budget with kids going to school, and those roads probably needed to be plowed? So we got really lucky there. And of course, it's one of the most scenic farms from Route 5 and from 91 when you're traveling through Vermont, which brings, economics to Vermont. So those are the reasons, some of the reasons that I'm hoping that you might reconsider. If I can understand, I've been on that side before, and there's you got to work on cutting taxes, or you catch it at the town meeting. But I really feel that if I or someone else gets up to make a motion and explains the reasoning behind this, that we would be able to add the $5,000 back in. And if you want to go that route, that's fine. I would, do a bigger campaign to try to garner support, because I feel it's really important. And, it's up to you guys, So I'm just sort of laying out the reasons and the path I hope I don't have to take, but it's important enough so that Vern Grubinger, the state extension agent for small fruits and vegetables, feels strongly about it. Sent an email to me this morning. I sent emails to Noah Hoskins, who's on the board, and Reed Miller. I tried to contact him. I was unable to contact him, so I wrote this letter as an individual, not as the Farmland Protection Committee, because I didn't get a chance to confer with those. So Liz from New Leaf CSA is also strongly in support of that. And I will mention one other thing. We go to a meeting and I make a motion to add the $5,000 back in. That motion could be raised. So it's something to consider.
So this is you haven't seen this yet. So I just wrote this afternoon. You can have a copy of it. that's the thought process behind what we're doing. So it's short. Just to address a few things, nobody's investing money in anything that can lose money. It would be certificates of deposit. It would be guaranteed. So there's no.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought.
We've been through this already with other funds.
Cemetery fund and stuff like that.
Yeah. Some of those have money market accounts, but people have asked, why don't you put the general fund or capital fund? We're not going to put anything in anything that would lose money. So that wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't imagine the state would allow.
That wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
I like your letter.
Mhm.
There's a couple of things that I just want people to be careful of. Nobody's zeroing out anything. The money's going to stay there, and I want to make sure that the
Well, you're zeroing out the contribution
for this year.
Yeah, you're pulling a musk on the contribution.
Right, but I just want to make sure it's clear that people don't read this as if we're taking the $60,000 and using it elsewhere.
No, I didn't.
It's a 1 year.
Should who's the chair?
I am.
Who's the gentleman I spoke to? Is there another member?
No, it's me on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you? Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, you sound very young on the phone too.
That's what kids are very young.
But you did mention that you wanted to reduce that fund. That you thought, I felt that you thought it would be okay since we wouldn't need to add to it because we had a lot in there and we wouldn't need to add to it for a few years.
We may not,
Yeah,
but we may.
right.
So-
So that was actually reducing the fund. Because you mentioned something about maybe getting it down to 40,000. What's the current?
No, I think what I said. So let's make this clear while it's on camera.
Sure.
Nobody's taking any money from the fund.
Yeah.
If you consider reducing the fund to not having the amount that you think it should have in 5 years, then that's fine. But that's incorrect verbiage.
Okay.
It's not funding it this year. It'll come back up again next year, just like normal. I think what I said to you is we could come up to an agreement possibly that if you expended $20,000 next year, that we'd fund it to try to get it back to 60. That we could set up possibly a number that we won't let it fall below.
Oh, okay. So
If it got to that point,
Yeah.
we'd figure out a way to fund it as quickly as possible to get it back to a number. So we could come up with a number, Skip, I think this was kind of your idea also, that we feel is a good number. And as long as it's at that number, we don't need tax money going into it, but you could take half of that fund and put it in CDs at 3% or whatever they happen to be now, and it would continue to grow. So I just want to make it clear, and if I misspoke, I misspoke, but I don't think I did. Nobody's indicated taking anything from the fund.
No, I didn't mean that you were going to take money from the fund. I meant that you were going to let it, if we use some of the fund, possibly let it go down to $40,000.
It may go down to 20, may go to 30. It just depends what.
Right, and I feel that that's inappropriate. And in this, as an example for the Howe Farm property, we're very lucky that it worked the way it did, but it wouldn't have worked for that if Don had to come and ask for monies. It would be take too long of a process to get those through the town meeting process.
So if
for
Don came and asked for an extra $50,000, we would have just given him $50,000. But that's in a case that has happened in the past and has not happened in the past.
Yeah.
So
Well,
there's
you would've
nothing
given
saying that you can't come to us and
If
say,
you only had 40,000, you wouldn't give him 50.
right, but that again, that's a future thing that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So if it happened this coming year, and you guys came to us and said we need $60,000, we want to use all the fund to conserve X farm. I don't know who'll be sitting here. I'll be here next year. We would probably approve the $6,000.
Yeah.
And then we're at zero. And so then we're going to be back in this discussion next year going, how do we fund it? And maybe funding it all in one chunk or $30,000 increments or whatever. So
I feel the townspeople would rather fund it in $5,000 excrements. No.
sure. And we're doing that with the capital fund and with the structures fund so that it's not an all one hit.
Sure.
And we're trying to balance the fire department the same way. So
okay, well, we just have a difference of opinion on that. I don't feel it's the right path to take. There's also a number of other farms in this town that we're possibly talking about working with conservation, and a lot of farms are having issues. And I think it's important for us to stay active. Conservation, selling the land rights through VLT is a good way to raise funds for a farm and help them maybe catch up a little bit, especially the dairy farms, which we don't have many of. But I just don't think it's the proper approach to. We've been funding this fund for a number of years now, and there have been no complaints, and the boards have not decided to follow this route. I realize that you're probably under a lot of pressure to reduce, taxes, and this is one area you thought that you might be able to do it. But times are tough all over, and costs are rising. Land costs are rising, expenses are rising, and not only for you guys but for farmers. And
But we do agree that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your opinion of what would be a healthy amount to get to in the fund?
To get to,
Yeah.
shoot.
Because I also don't agree that it's a good idea to have to come some year and say we need 30,000, we need 40,000. That's asking a lot. I like the idea of little bits right here as well.
Also,
but like, what's a good goal to get to?
You hate to give out a large number because somebody sees that and they go for that in a way.
No, but it's a long term. It's a long term goal.
Long-term goal.
Investment.
I think $100,000 would be my optimum.
So for
So
for another 6 years like this.
Something like that, right. I think that would be a healthy amount. I think it is a good idea to invest it in a safe, secure fund. The interest rates are probably better than I don't know if it's in a bank account now or how it's kept.
I think it's just in Merchants Bank now.
That's crazy, right? It should be in some kind of 5% fund or something at least. But I think that's a good approach. But I think 60,000 would have been close to borderline for this last project of incredibly valuable farmland if things hadn't gone our way.
Okay.
You mentioned some other farms in the area. Is there any potential coming up within the next year that you're aware of?
I hate to put on TV who I think might not be making it in the next.
I don't
You guys-
to do that.
You guys know.
But yes, there are some properties that might be on the block a little bit. Yeah. I know. I can just tell you, I have a good friend, Paul Harlow, has Harlow Farm. And he just, as you probably read in the paper, lost one of his main foremen, and he's going to be cutting back, and some of that land is possibly going to need to be sold, but hopefully conserved. And I don't know what that town does for farmland protection, but I think things happen. Like I say, with the Randy Farm, we were very lucky to have that conserved.
Jack, do you have any other donations or income coming into the fund?
No.
So when people pass away or anything, do you put anything encouraging them for donations to come or whatever?
That would be a good idea that we could publish something possibly in the Views at some point saying people might want to consider donations to the Farmland
But the
Protection
town,
Fund.
$5,000 a year is the only contribution to the fund.
That's correct, yeah.
There have been a few, I was looking through the ledger, there's been a few $100 donations here and there.
Yeah, that's
over the
true,
years,
yeah.
but nothing significant.
Right, nothing
Yeah.
like this. So
Thank
I
you.
also sit on the board of the Vermont Organic Farmers Farm Protection Board, and throughout the state, there's been some catastrophic failures with flooding, and ironically drought this past year, where we give out $5,000 grants, and we do get a lot of private donations into that fund from pastures that are dried up, no second cut hay. We probably experienced that, and especially around the Burlington area, the floods 3 years in a row will wipe stuff out. So things happen, climate change happens, and it's we've seen. You guys have been around long enough. Have seen this. The scene change. We had Fred Knapp milking, and Randy milking, and Albert Moore milking, and Phil Bacon, and the Lawrences, and Whitney, and Nelson Gilson, and it's not the way it is anymore. So I guess that's about all I have to say.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for coming.
Sure.
We'll talk about it. We're going to finish the budget after this meeting.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll check the minutes and.
I'm not going to put anything in there. You will.
Yeah. And I hope you can understand why we're concerned, and I understand the route you guys might want to take, but I hope you understand the route I want to take.
One more question, Jack.
Sure.
Would
wanted to-
like half of that, 2,500, would that say anything to the state, or would it not?
Well,
I mean, it doesn't make a big difference on the tax.
yeah, right.
Final
Yeah.
taxes. So
Once again, I think the Vermont Land Trust, as you can see from Don Campbell's letter, are very observant on what towns do to protect land. If there's competition and they've seen you cut it, maybe wait a couple of years. They're going to think they're not so interested in. We just spent a fortune on that place at the Howe Farm, and now they're cutting their budget. So I wouldn't think that would be a good idea. But,
All right.
but thanks so much, guys.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Good seeing you.
Good luck.
Don't worry, I'll get the agenda in a minute.
Todd,
Yes, Jody, go ahead.
may I speak now as a public?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank Jack for presenting what he's done. I think conserving land, particularly the farmland, in this day and age where we don't know where our food is coming from, is very important to save that. And I would encourage you to put that amount of money back into the budget again. A couple of other things. One is who's up? Is it Maria and Thomas that are up for election this year?
There's 3 seats up for election. Maria's seat, Tom's seat, and the seat that Skip is filling. That's right. Correct, Skip? So
That's
3
right,
seats
yeah.
up.
And I already told Laurie I'm not running.
Okay, well, it's so important to let the public know. And this is almost too late to let the public know. It should happen really early, so that people can think about and maybe, join the meetings and watch the meetings and see if that's something that they would like to do, because it's going to be very hard to get people if they don't know until the last minute. So, Thomas, did I just hear you say you weren't running?
Yeah, I told Laurie, so I thought she'd let people know.
Well, I'm sure she will. I don't know when you told her. But and Maria, are you running?
Yes, I am.
Skip, are you running?
no, I'm not.
So you're going to have 2 openings then. And I think it's very, very important for the select board to get that out. And I wouldn't just rely on Lori. She does a lot for all of us. I would make sure that it was very public that nobody's running. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that was on the agenda, and I think I heard you say that, I was having trouble getting on, is the library. Have you put the library on the agenda?
Yep,
Okay, then I will wait for that. Thank you.
sure.
I think Lori said she's sending out an email to everybody tomorrow in the town.
She is. I talked to her today.
Yeah.
That'll have all the openings, including things that are elected that are not the select board.
Right.
All right, we got some emails about road sanding. I talked to Lee about it today. He'll address those issues. Does anybody have any issues with the road sanding or the emails we got?
No, I mean, you seemed upset.
Todd,
Yeah.
the emails, are they worried about not sanding or sanding too much?
Not sanding enough.
Okay, because I see a different thing up our way, so thank you.
Sure. I think it was enough and or timely.
I mean, it's gotta take into account when the storm was and the fact that the trucks have gotta get around the different roads.
Right.
You can't always be there when you think they ought to be.
And ice is ice.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not very nice.
Correspondence for information. I don't think there's anything in there. We did get some emails on the library budget, but we'll talk about that during budget a little bit and library update. So I added the library update into correspondence for discussion as Gail had sent an email. So Tom, I'm going to leave it to you.
Oh, the most recent for the
Where are we at? What's
the
going
study
on?
group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very active on the last one. Lots of people wanted to voice their opinions, and they want to have a final meeting next week to finalize it. That's kind of just finishing touches, but it's the consensus was that the Dummerston Community Center and Library Board was a better name. That it made sure everyone was clear that the community center and library would both be there. The community center, in the meeting before that, had mentioned that we didn't ask them, we didn't bring it up. They said they were going to end their lease by the first of the year, and I didn't hear anything else about that. And I talked to them at the meeting and said, would you consider just staying on and being part of this board? But they don't want to. They want to be done.
Right. Well, the organization that had the lease doesn't exist anymore. So I think by default, the lease doesn't exist anymore.
That's news to me.
They're nonprofit.
They're no longer a nonprofit,
longer
yeah,
a
but
nonprofit,
they're
so-
still an informal group.
The financial functioning of the library has money for rent still has to go to the community center because you're still paying the bills until we finish with this whole process.
Yeah.
So Gail and or Jody, do you guys have questions before we ask any more here?
When you say the group wants to finalize things next week, I don't know what power the group has, if any. That's only recommendations to the board.
Yep.
I don't know that they're real clear on that. Maybe you have a different feeling on that.
I've described it to them from the beginning. We're coming up with a proposal to bring to the board, to hopefully bring to the town to vote.
And
this
when you
down.
say we're coming up with it, who's going to write it?
That's the one that we've been working on in this will be the fourth
Everything
meeting.
that you sent out with the mission and what you see as the bylaws?
The one-page proposal that says
Okay.
Dummerston Community Center and Library proposal.
I think there's a number of people that feel that everybody there, that many of the people there are very supportive of the library, which they are. I don't know that the people that have some valid questions in terms of budget and everything else feel that they're being heard, is part of my concern.
Okay.
And the whole idea of who's gonna actually handle the community center doesn't really seem to be clear. There's some people, and you've expressed and you expressed, you'd like to have a separate committee from the select board, appointed by the select board, to oversee the community center. You also said you're open to other ideas. The library is considering a committee to oversee.
No, so that's something people sometimes still don't understand. The idea is there's a community center nonprofit.
But there
And-
isn't anymore.
Okay, well, we'll just say as of up until very
Okay,
recently,
okay.
there was a community center nonprofit, and then there were elected trustees
right.
of a library board. The idea was to do away with both and make one entity that is overseeing the whole thing. That was the project that we're working on. Not to say, library, you have everything and this is your thing. It's to say, this is done and we create one thing.
So real quick, Jody, I see your hand
That's
up.
the proposal.
Yeah.
Jody, I see your hand up. I'll get to you in a second. But the board of trustees is not going away. That's never been on the plan. It's an elected board.
Right.
They run the library.
Then there can't be any project.
So you're saying that okay. All right, when's your next meeting?
I think it's Monday.
night.
Because the board of trustees is not disappearing. That's never been discussed.
Then we can't make that into a single entity. If we
Why?
don't. Unless we
It
hand
doesn't have to be
everything
a
over
single entity. The single entity is going to oversee the running and maintenance of the community center and the board of trustees. I understand, so we had this discussion a number of times. I understand this idea that we had a community center board and we had a board of trustees and they were banging heads. And everybody is under the impression that there's no possible way there could be two groups in the future because of the past. And I don't believe that's true. I believe there can be a town appointed group of people that may include somebody from the board of trustees if they want to be on it, but doesn't have to, who's going to oversee the scheduling, the maintenance, the paying of the bills, the whatever else needs to be done. And that 5 people are going to run the overarching umbrella. So, but it'll, instead of it being a nonprofit organization that's separate from the town, it'll be part of the town. What came up at the last meeting that you were here at, and Linda's like, well, I mean, in fact, Linda just came in here and wanted to expand the board of trustees. So that's obviously that different.
That might have been something with discussion from the group.
Right.
But
That's what I told her
that's
is,
not what we're trying to do.
because basically what I got from the last meeting was there's an agreement on what it's going to kind of be, whether it wants to be they want to expand the board of trustees or have it be a separate committee. Whatever they present, as long as it makes sense, and we look at it and go, okay, we can do that, that's fine. I don't see expanding the board of trustees as particularly viable, but if you can present it, if they can present, or you can present a cogent case for having 7 library board of trustees and have them oversee the community center somehow, that's fine. But I think we saw it as the same thing, and it was reiterated of somebody overseeing the building, somebody overseeing the scheduling, that's somebody where they sit and what their bucket is, whether it's a board of trustees or a separate group, is up to you guys to figure out. Before I get too far, Jody, your hand's up. Do you have a question?
Well, yes, I do. I have some really big concerns about what was originally happening with the community center and how it got started. And the library was renters. They were not a part of the community center. And I've been watching them push the limits a little further than I think I prefer to see happening. But the one big thing that is really upsetting me is it's been well over a year now that the board and the public have asked for answers to questions that they are not getting answers to, like who's coming to the projects, who's coming to the library, who's coming to the community center. Are they from town or not from town? Are they charging or not charging? How many people? Like I have a library card. I've had one since the beginning, but I've never used it. Am I being counted or am I not being counted? There are just so many questions that are not being answered. And that really bothers me to go forward in increasing a budget for them. And I noticed that you have cut it back, but like last year, there will be enough people there to increase it probably at town meeting over and above what, you've cut it back. And I just hate to see this happen. I also hate to see the possibility that we may lose that property for the town. At one time there were all kinds of ideas how we could use it, and I think that the old community center board has done a fantastic job keeping it going. It's just seemed to be that when the library came in, that there's heads that are butting, and I hate to see that in town. So I just hope the select board will really take this into consideration in thinking about what to do with it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions or inputs?
No, the only thing, if the library does increase to 7, they have to go through the whole process of changing their bylaws and everything else. So it's gonna be a lengthy process, and I don't even know timetable. None of this is gonna happen before town meeting, obviously. I don't even know if it'll happen this fiscal year, so there's gonna be problems.
Well, I need to know before the meeting, like what I'm being asked then to do. Because if there's the one proposal where there's the select board appoints 5 people to basically take over from what the community center used to do. That's one proposal. If it's not going to be considered to just make something from scratch, that's what we've been working on, then I need to know now so I know what to do at the meeting. So if we're not going to consider just a brand new entity, then we have to kind of start from scratch. Because that was the whole project.
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Okay.
So,
Maybe before Monday.
well, there's not going to be an answer before Monday. I mean, essentially, you guys are going to come to the select board with the plan.
We have that.
And there's 5 people here. If you convince 3 people that that's a good plan, then that's what's going to go before the town.
Okay.
If you don't convince 3 people, then it's back to square one.
Okay.
So,
You see, I thought the committee was formed to come to us with multiple options, whether it was forming one entity, keeping 2 entities, selling the building, whatever it was. I thought that's what this committee was supposed to be doing.
that there's some truth to that in that they need to look at options. Me personally, I don't need them to come here and present 8 options. I don't have time for that. So,
No, I'm just saying, that's what I thought that they were doing.
right, look at the options for the community center library moving forward with the plan, right? Does that ring true?
Yeah, but to the extent of like bringing them together, that
Sure.
was it.
And picking
So
brains.
like we didn't want to come with like you said 8 proposals. We were
Sure.
coming up
Right.
with a proposal that we thought was the best.
Right.
We could have 3 different documents if you want with some different options. That's not that hard.
Yeah.
But like I kind of want to know the parameters of what you guys will consider. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So we do something because we're getting close to the end of the before town meeting. And like this was supposed to be the last. Actually, last meeting was supposed to be the last meeting, but we were kind of like want people to be able to show up to meetings and talk and get input. So we said let's do another meeting.
Right.
But I kind of want to know the parameters that people will consider, and then I'll bring it.
And is there going to be an article at all on any of this, or is it strictly as part of the budget?
There will be something written in the select board article that I'll write. this
No, I
week.
meant the article for town meeting,
Oh, article for town meeting.
On the warning.
on the warning.
It depends where we're at. If
So that's
we don't have
gonna
time to get
have
it
to-
on town meeting, it won't be on town
They'll
meeting.
have to be decided within 2 weeks or so.
Right.
That's when it.
So basically, the drop
goes-
dead is 2 weeks from now at our next meeting.
So the next meeting, yeah.
Right. Whether, again, the 5 of us sitting here agree that whatever option you present is viable or that we agree with.
Or that it's to let the public vote on it, whether they like it or not.
Sure.
But I don't want to come with something that's just like totally not what you guys will entertain, because I don't want to waste
Well,
anybody's
just
time.
so just as has been said before, and I know I sound like a broken record. If you come with a new entity or expanded board of trustees, your documents better include what steps have to be taken to increase the board of trustees by 2 people. When is that going to happen? How is that going to happen? How are the staggered terms going to work? Who's going to be in charge of what? Everything needs to be sorted out. I don't want to have to ask a question of, you want to have 2 board of trustees. Well, how are you going to do that? What's the process?
Okay, that's easy enough.
That has to be included in there, and you have to have done the research, talk to the VLCT.
I've been hounding them.
So-
Finally, I got a reply yesterday that she can.
So it has to,
meet with
it
me.
has to be a complete plan, and it has to be persuasive. That this is the
Okay.
reason we're going this route is because we don't feel A or B are the better options. We looked at them, right? So again, I've told Linda a number of times when she's been here, and I know I sound like a broken record because I think about this all the time. I think it's easier and more efficient to have an appointed board than an elected board overseeing this organization. I think it's more dynamic, it's more fluid. If somebody decides they don't want to do it anymore, we're not appointing somebody to the next town until the next town meeting who then has to run to be on the board of trustees. I think the board of trustees, as they are running the library function, is fine. What I'm trying to figure out is how to run the community center, because the community center board has disappeared. And and all the great work they've done, as Jody points out, and I use the community center all the time, is great, but somebody needs to be able to step in, and having something that the library people understand and are on board with, I think just gonna make it a lot easier.
Yeah, part of it's a reflection of the board, the community center board getting tired and old, and they just haven't built up new people. That's part of what's going on
Sure.
there.
And and looking at that is a little bit of a lesson on how hard it is to keep people in positions,
Right.
voluntary positions, let alone elected positions.
Right.
So those are all open. And Jody's question with numbers and all that deals a little more with budget than with what this is going to look like.
Yes, this project is not about the budgeting, that's all.
Right.
Right, that's
That's
separate.
all
So we'll talk about that.
Just one other question, because I know you got quite an agenda. There's been major discussion on the new name, or what the name is going to be. And who's gonna make that decision and when? Is that gonna be voted on at town meeting? And would there need to be an article? Just a question, I don't have the answers.
I believe all of it would be part of an article. Whether it gets done in time for town meeting, I don't know.
So does that mean that the select board is going to write that article, or would you want the committee to write an article with a name change?
I think, Maria, and everyone else, I think once we agree on what they presented, we would write the article.
Or if they've come up with a name,
Or if they come up with the name,
then
sure.
like we have a petitioned article, and that's exactly how it has to appear on the warning. So if they have a proposal, then they need to come up with the article for the warning.
All right.
Okay.
Who can help them with that?
Lori.
Lori. So Lori can help you with the petition for an article.
Okay.
Because that can be, in theory, you could walk in here in 2 weeks with what you're going to present, an article, and it can all be done. It can all not be done.
Yeah.
Those are both valid options. Lori's on that.
So even if they come up, and I'm not saying that they have to petition for an article, but even petitioned articles, we as a board can decide to put them on the warning or not. I mean, we could have somebody send us a petition that they want us to give everybody a pony.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to put that on the warning.
Sure.
I mean, common sense prevails.
Well, I want a pony.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm saying, just because we have a petitioned article before us doesn't mean that we have to put it on the warning.
I think taking the words out for a minute, they get confusing, petitioning an article and whatever. The question is, do we think we're going to have something that we
Can present.
can agree on moving forward? I think that's the first step before we even get to the rest of it. Right? And
Yeah.
that's, so.
Well, you
Skip.
should know that there are a lot of people interested at the Zoom meeting last night that last week that Tom presided over 2 weeks ago. There were like 20 people. That was the night of the snowstorm. And Tom was over at the community center, and were there maybe 10 people there, Tom?
Something like that. Most
Something
people
like that.
couldn't
Yeah.
get there in person. Yeah.
Yeah, so probably close to 30 people were participating in that. And lots of discussion, lots of concern, lots of viewpoints. So that part is good. People are involved.
Yep. Jody, your hand's still up. Do you have a question?
Yes, I have one more thing, and I've said this before, because a lot of people have spoken, we've talked with a lot of people, and they would much prefer to have a membership in Putney or in Brattleboro Library. And I thought way back when, that one of the select board members was going to check with Putney and Brattleboro and see if it was a possibility to give a decent rate for all of our people to join the other libraries. Has anybody done that?
We have not.
I know the individual rate at Brattleboro is now 120. It doubled.
Excuse me, Tom?
The individual rate at Brattleboro doubled last year. So it used to be like 60, because I have one. And when they got it, she said, oh, good thing you got it right now, because it doubles next month. So
The idea
But-
being, Jody, is that would they give us 500 memberships at a lower rate?
Would they give Dummerston residents as a group so much?
Right.
Because it's a much bigger library, and both of them are much better equipped than the library in Dummerston. I personally feel that we're small. We don't need to have our own library, and I think a lot of people are closer to one of the other libraries to get part of. I understand that Newfane doesn't charge outsiders, so the people on West Somerson could go to Newfane too. But I just wanted to know if that had been followed through, because I think it's important to follow through on that question.
All right, we may get to it. We may not before, but I can certainly call and ask them.
Okay.
Thanks. All right.
I think, Todd, I think that your idea of having a separate board for the community center is better than expecting the library to take charge of it. So,
I agree.
Well, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
So when you say separate board, are you okay with the idea of a committee appointed by the select board to oversee the community center
yeah.
versus a board, nonprofit or whatever?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Just a group of people that
Yeah,
are
just
committed
clarifying that.
to the building and the community, the
Yeah.
back rooms and the basement and all that stuff, as opposed to the library just saying, well, we've got charge of it here, so, we want to use this room, we're going to use it.
And as pointed out, I mean, the Board of Trustees have sat in this room, Lyle sat in this room and said she does not want
Right.
to do it.
Right,
So I'll take her at her word.
right.
It's worth noting that anything is an improvement because the way it is now, and this isn't about the community center board as in particular. Right now, like who's in charge and how it's run, we kind of don't know. It's like we hope for the best. So I that's not my preferred route, but at least that would be an improvement where the town actually has some say over how its properties run.
I'm doing the scheduling now, so that's on my plate.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you are?
So I've taken over
Instead
from
of
Catherine who about town
I didn't know.
for 2 months. And Randy's still paying the bills because the funding is still there until the end of the year. So, but yes, you're right. It's in limbo now. No question. All right, let's move on from that. All right, let's hit Roger. Town filled dirt policy, email from the planning commission. Let's talk about this. Your stuff came in earlier, I read some of it, but it's just.
Yeah, I made copies for everyone.
Sure.
So, yeah, I'd like to read a statement, and you could follow along, and there's some supporting documents as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is about the Planning Commission letter. It has come to my attention that the Planning Commission has issued a ruling or interpretation letter of November 10th, 2025, of the zoning bylaw regarding my decision as zoning administrator to require zoning permits for landfill deposited on parcels in Dummerston. In my opinion, this action by the Planning Commission is not supported under Vermont statute. I have outlined the Vermont statutes below that support my view. And I just want to pause to any of you that I haven't met yet. I'm Roger. I'm the zoning administrator for almost 9 years now for Dummerston. Dummerston's town website correctly defines the Planning Commission's role in creating the zoning bylaw as follows. The Planning Commission is also responsible for writing Dummerston zoning bylaw using the town plan as a framework. In the past, the Planning Commission was involved in adjudicating some provisions of the zoning bylaw, but now all regulatory duties are the province of the Development Review Board. Title 24 VSA, Chapter 117, governs the adoption, content, and administration of municipal bylaws. Under 24 VSA 4325 and 4441, the Planning Commission's role is limited to drafting the bylaws. It is not the body for interpreting or enforcing the adopted zoning bylaws. The zoning bylaws are administered by the Development Review Board and the zoning administrator. The zoning administrator administers and enforces the zoning bylaws by issuing permits. The ZA must administer the bylaws literally and has no power to permit any development that is not in conformance with the bylaw. This strict requirement prevents subjective interpretation by the ZA. That's 24 VSA 4448. The Development Review Board reviews complex development applications and hears appeals of the ZA's decisions. It is the primary interpretive body. The DRB is a quasi-judicial body that hears and decides appeals where an interested party believes an error has been committed in an administrative officer's determination. It is empowered to interpret the meaning of ambiguous provisions when questions arise during an appeal or an application review. That's 24 VSA 4465. In short, while the Planning Commission writes the rules, the zoning administrator applies the rules, and the Development Review Board is the panel that officially interprets them. especially in cases where the zoning administrator has made a decision that is appealed. In this case, neither the planning commission or the select board, as interested parties, have appealed the zoning permit decisions in question. If the PC or the SB disagrees with the ZA's interpretation of the zoning bylaw, the legal avenue under Title 24 is a timely appeal of the ZA decision to the DRB. Furthermore, there is no language under 24 VSA 4413, which is limitations on municipal bylaws, that would allow an exemption to the zoning bylaw in the case where the town road department is providing landfill material to residents. Under 24 VSA 4411B, zoning bylaws. All zoning bylaws shall apply to all lands within the municipality, other than as specifically limited or exempted in accordance with specific standards included in those bylaws and in accordance with provisions of this chapter. The interpreted exemption by the PC has no basis in the zoning bylaw or Title 24. Under Title 24, the legal avenues for the planning commission or select board to say that no permitting is required in any circumstance is to either appeal the ZA decision in question to the DRB or amend the zoning bylaw under Chapter 24, VSA, Chapter 117. There is no basis in the statute for the select board or the planning commission to waive any permitting requirements in the zoning bylaw. Via email, I have stated to the select board that under 24 VSA 4449, the select board has the power to waive fees on permits. The fee for such zoning permit shall be established by the select board. The select board can do this at any time. In regard to these specific land development landfill zoning permits, I'm not aware that any member of a board in town has requested to see any of these permits, even when the permit for landfill was on town-owned land. And if you look at the list of landfill permits I provided, it's 3603. I think there is some misunderstanding on the boards of what these permits entail. To that end, I wanted to share this specific permit, 3816, as an example, which it's included in your packet there. To begin with, I wanted to clarify some language used in the zoning bylaw by providing definitions of three important words: landfill, landscape, and landscaping. Here are the Merriam-Webster dictionary definitions. Landfill, an area built up by landfill. Landscape, to modify or ornament a natural landscape by altering the plant cover. The zoning bylaw definition of landscaping: the addition of lawn, trees, plants, grading, fences, walls, and other natural and decorative features to the land. In this instance, more than 200 cubic yards of fill material provided by the town road department was dumped on this parcel. You can see on the site plan and in the photos that it abuts the flood hazard zone for the West River. This landfill is being used to create more flat area on the parcel. This in no way meets the exemptions listed in section 701, exemptions number 8, minor grading and excavation associated with road and driveway maintenance, for example, including culvert replacement and resurfacing, and lawn and yard maintenance, for example, gardening or landscaping. This is typical of all the landfill zoning permits I have issued for this activity. In all instances, the landfill was being dumped to fill depressions on the properties to create flat areas. The landfill may be landscaped subsequently, but the land development activity to create flat areas is, by definition, landfill. And you can see the permit and the site plan showing where it is located. And you can see the photos of the landfill deposited on the site next to the flood hazard zone.
So that one was approved, right?
That, it was approved, yes. That was number 3816.
Right.
So on the list you can see.
Yep.
There's one more point I want to make tonight. I believe there's a conflict of interest on the Select Board and Planning Commission happening regarding these land development permits. I'm sharing this testimony from the recent DRB hearing on December 16th. I think that at least 3 of you were present for that hearing. This portion of the hearing was regarding noise from trucks on Maria's property on Houghton Road. Lewis White, as a town employee, gave this sworn testimony in regard to the town road crew dumping landfill material on Maria's parcel on Houghton Road this past summer. The testimony reads, "My name is Lewis White. We did do some work on that road and we actually dumped some of the material in the pit in that area. We dumped, I don't know how many loads this summer. We dumped that came off the property. So we did go in there and dump some material in there." And then, so the last sentence is about the beepers going off on the trucks. So since September, Maria has been advocating for there being no permitting required for this land development activity. And this is while she has engaged in the very same activity on her parcel without obtaining the required zoning permit. This to me is a direct conflict of interest for her on both the Select Board and the Planning Commission.
Thanks. All right, so before further discussion, conflict of interest?
I can abstain
All
or
right,
recuse myself from any discussion.
all right. Anybody else have input on that?
The dirt that was dumped at Maria's actually came off of her property, correct?
It came off the road.
Right.
The town road doing maintenance. Lewis White didn't specify exactly where it came from.
I mean, I've been out that road, and the ditches are deep, and, you know,
Yeah.
they're fine.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that the property owner owns to the road, even though there's a right of way there. They pay taxes up until that section, so to me, that means that it's her dirt.
As zoning administrator, the bylaw does not say that. It says landfill is landfill material. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Right, I understand that, but if I wanted to do, some ditching around my house along the side of the road, I mean, the town would be involved in it, but it's still the same thing to me that I would own up to that portion of road that's being driven on. So, you know, I mean, that's just my take of it. So I just think that it was her dirt that got dumped there, so.
So, let me ask a starting question. One, I mean, I agree with everything you said. I've thought about this a lot, and obviously we have, we'll call them laws, bylaws that are created by what we're going to call the legislative branch, right? This just works in every municipality and government. This is then enforced by essentially the executive branch, which is you, and is then reviewed on appeal by an appeals court, which is the DRB. That's how the process works. So, what I'd originally hoped from the Planning Commission was, if they want to rewrite the bylaw to make it clearer, they can. And we got the letter from Anna Marie, right, which was a different road than I wanted. The legislature branch doesn't interpret the law. They've written it, and what they've written is the law. That's all there is. And it can't be the intent of the commission at the time, or the planning commission at the time, that, well, this is what we meant, because we aren't going to be here all the time. So the only record is what's in the bylaw, because the planning commission changes. And so there's no way to go, well, what we meant was, well, what you meant is what you wrote, and that's the way it works. And that has to be enforced by somebody, which essentially is a select board who's hired a zoning administrator. So with that as my thought process, whose responsibility is it to get a zoning permit?
It's the landowners.
It's the landowners, right? That's my understanding, and it always is the landowners. So if I want to move, and I always laugh about this, 500 cubic meters of dirt on my property and put it somewhere else on my property, I can't put it in a floodplain. I can't put it in a riparian zone, even though that is next to my property, even though I want to, and I think I should because I own it. If you're going to move that kind of landfill around, you have to go and find out whether you need a zoning permit. And that involves coming to the office and going to the zoning administrator, whoever that may be, and saying, do I need a permit? And here's my site plan. And somebody's going to come out and look at it and say, you can do that because it's not a floodplain, it's not a riparian buffer. The problem if you don't do that is, of course, the resident has an issue. But once you filled in a flood zone or riparian buffer, you may have ruined something that can't be undone. So filling of land requires somebody to look at it and go, can I fill this or can I not fill this? And that belongs to the resident. So Maria may move dirt around her property, but if it's filling land or land filling, I think you have to come and say, do I need a permit for this? You can always say no, right? And on top of that, I don't think Lee or Lewis or anybody else on the road crew should be making any determination on whether I can put this dirt here or not. I don't need them doing that. It's not their job. It's your job. And so, as I've said before, if one of the thoughts I came up with, just so you understand where I'm coming from, is if I say I want the landfill from the town road crew, if I say as the town select board's like, you know what, the road crew, you can dump it on somebody's driveway. You can dump it on a hard packed, already existing surface, right? Because now I know it's not in any landfill, it's not causing any problems. If you then want to move that, you probably want to make sure that you're moving it to somewhere that's not riparian buffer, flood zone, habitat for something else, right? And as we talked about before, if we're going to go around the bylaws in certain circumstances, then why have them at all? Let's just have a Wild West out there, right? So, and Skip, you brought this up. It's like it's your dirt. It is your dirt, but you can't move your dirt into areas that's not authorized to be in, even if it's on your own property, because your property is floodplain or riparian, possibly.
Right.
And you may know where those areas are. So you might not do it. That doesn't mean everybody else would. And so, coming to the enforcement mechanism, which is you, and saying, do I need a permit for this or not, is probably the first step every resident should take. Whether they will or not, I don't know, right? So I don't see a difference between the town landfill and privately brought landfill from somewhere else being really any different. What we got caught up in, and it's true, it would be nice to be able to have the landfill from the road crew put somewhere that's not 40 minutes away, right? Where they have to drive, they have to drop it off.
And then, yeah.
The permitting process, I know, takes 45 days, and the weeks you have to post.
No, that's incorrect.
So right. So address that. So if I talk to Lee and Lee's like, I'm going to be digging out a bunch of stuff over on Johnson's property next to your house. Do you want the landfill? And I say, yeah, I do. What do I do?
So, and I can use this permit you have in front of you as an example again. If you look at the timeline, I received it on June 26th.
Yep.
I issued the permit on June 26th.
Yep.
Or on July 1st, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a 15-day appeal period. So at the end of that 15 days, so July 16th, we're talking less than a month, it was approved.
Okay.
And that's typical for all of these permits.
But fair enough that it's still 2 weeks. So if Lee suddenly has a landfill, he can't suddenly get rid of landfill, because 2 weeks is going to be the shortest period of time if a permit's required.
Right.
If you went to the property and said, you don't need a permit, would that take the same period of time?
I can't grant an exemption because the bylaw won't let me.
Right.
There are no exemptions for landfill.
Mm-hmm.
So a permit is required in every circumstance if there's landfill.
Right. What if my situation earlier where they put the landfill on my driveway on a hard surface?
And there's no exceptions. It doesn't say that in the bylaw anyway. It doesn't matter where on your property you put it.
Right.
If you're putting landfill on your property, then the bylaw says a permit is required.
All right. I'm out of questions.
Isn't there a section in the bylaws, I don't think I have it with me, but that says you can put it on your garden or your driveway or anything?
Not landfill. Yeah. And that's, if you look at the definitions I provided.
Well, you also gotta look at culverts.
Well, yeah,
In a
exactly.
driveway, you're gonna fill in your culvert if it rains from the landfill.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that answered your question, but landfill is an area built up by landfill. It's not landscaping.
It's,
The bylaw definition of landscaping is not that. It's addition of lawn, trees, plants, fences, walls, it's decorative. It's not landfill.
right, sometimes if you're building a garden, you need dirt to put there. So does that fall under landscape, or does that fall under
So if you're getting,
landscaping?
and I've talked to Todd about this, the zoning bylaw, there are gray areas, okay? And the zoning administrator has latitude in these cases. So if I see somebody putting 3 to 5 yards of topsoil on their property to start a garden, that doesn't concern me. It's not the same thing as filling depressions and in order to build flat areas on your property. It's not the same thing. And I don't see it that way.
Interesting.
Most of these permits were for way over 100 yards of material, cubic yards. That's a lot of material.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
But
a
if
couple of trucks.
Yeah,
well, you
yeah.
get six
And
to
the
12,
one is for over
15 yards on a
300.
truck, so it's more than a couple of trucks.
Yeah.
So-
The one for the Daniels that went to the town gravel pit, that was for over 300 yards of material from the state boat launch project.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a different thing than digging out ditches and, dumping it nearby.
In theory, it's the same thing. It's moving material onto a parcel in Dummerston. The bylaw says if landfill is put on a parcel in Dummerston, it requires a permit. Doesn't matter that it was the state doing it, it still requires a permit.
And to circle back on all this, again, the process is in place that if Roger says you need a permit or denies it, a landfill, they go to the DRB. And the DRB says, well, Roger's wrong. We say you don't, and here's why.
Mhm.
I mean, that's just how it works. They don't go to the planning commission and ask them.
Right.
If definitions want to change and zoning bylaws want to change, and they have to be, and it doesn't matter whatever the process is for updating zoning bylaws, that's a separate issue. But if over a period of time it appears that the planning commission feels they need to update the bylaw and say specifically what they mean, then they can do that and go through the process of updating the zoning bylaw.
How long is a permit good for?
Forever.
Okay. So if somebody had a spot they wanted to do something with, they could go to Lee in the spring and say, hey, if you're working in the area, I'll go get a permit.
Well, people can get a permit ahead of time, sure.
Well, so,
And that's something I've discussed with Lee, that if he's planning on doing work, he can ask around and if people want the fill, they can apply for the permit ahead of time. You have 2 years. The permit's valid for 2 years. There's latitude there.
Wait, when you say it's valid for 2 years, but it's valid forever.
No, it's if you apply and I grant it,
To act on it.
to act on it, you have 2
I
years.
see, okay.
If you act on it, then you're good.
Okay.
You don't have to reapply, some future date,
Right.
unless you're adding more landfill.
So
I
if
was gonna say-
somebody wants landfill, they can put in a request from the town, get a permit. So that way, if Lee wants the dump, he doesn't have to go to a
Right,
dump site and then come back
right,
and put it in.
Right.
He can go directly because he knows this is already,
So there could be a list maintained
right.
somewhere. I don't know where. I'm not going to make anybody do anything. But people have permits for landfill from the
well,
town.
I keep track of everything.
Right.
So,
But people could be like, listen, I have to pay $65 for a truckload of dirt, but I need to have my permit in place.
Mm-hmm.
Because again,
well, the select board can waive the permitting fee.
that's what I'm saying, the fee part, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But I'm
What's
just
the current fee?
65.
65 for that.
Including the filing fee.
Right.
Okay. It's just a coincidence that the other one was 65 as well for the load of, that we waived.
Yeah, that's
That
what
was
we're
also
talking about.
65.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
So
Yeah.
we waived
No.
that, but then the question
That
became,
was the fee for the actual material.
that was the fee for the permit. It's permit.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you're getting the material for
Okay.
$65.
Okay.
You have to do the permit.
I was confused on that.
But I think that,
And I think we've
recording fee
agreed
is-
to waive the fee. The question that came up was the letter from Anna Marie from the planning commission on the definitions, but the definitions aren't something that, we don't need an interpretation from them. We need them to either change the bylaw or let it stand and let you do your job.
If any board in the town can be an interested party and can
Sure.
appeal these decisions that I'm making,
Right. We
the
could,
boards have the right to do that.
sure. We could appeal decision and the DRB would look at it, right?
Right.
But that's not where we're at right now. We're just trying to figure out, because basically after the planning commission, we're like, well, the permit's not required. Well, but is it? Right? Because according to what she wrote, they don't believe a permit's required, but they're not the interpretive body.
That's right.
They're just the writers of the law. And whatever the law is interpreted by somebody else.
Right.
They is the planning commission.
They, yes.
No, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
just
know if you
consider
were referring to them or the
them,
DRB.
yeah, just consider them Congress.
Yeah, no, that's how I'm thinking about
Right.
it. There's legislative,
Right.
executive, and then
And the
judicial.
judiciary. Yep, that's pretty much how it works.
Okay.
Okay, so
Explain it to the president.
we're, I will not. I was trying to come up with a real world example that's the equivalent of it, and there are a bunch of them, but some of them are more complicated than others. So, we've already waived the fee, which we can do.
I would like to relook at that as far as the recording fee.
Right?
I think there should be a recording fee.
Why are you making this difficult?
I'm
A
not,
recording fee for,
So the fee, the application's $50, the recording fee is 50 and 15 for 65 total.
yeah. So
Yeah,
bring it
and
down to
that's the
15.
state charges us that.
Oh, do they? Okay.
The state charges
so,
the town.
you know, we charge them.
Okay, so we would keep the recording fee. So $15, okay, which we can vote on. But as we stand now, we're not making any change to, because we can't make any change to whether or not a permit's required. That's not our decision to
No.
make. So the only thing we can do is reduce the fee to $15 if the state.
So just so I'm clear, the planning commission could go to the DRB and appeal that.
They could.
They could.
And-
Then it could come
So
around.
next, so if, for
We'll come back
example,
around.
if I issue a permit, next time I issue a permit for landfill, any board can appeal that decision to the
But
DRB.
it's individual permits, it's not a blanket, not a blanket
Right.
permit.
Right.
Or there has to be some standing somewhere.
Mhm.
And then the planning commission would do whatever they would have to do.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit weird. I don't know if Congress has ever appealed to a court for their own law, but it could happen. There's no reason not to. All right, any other questions? Okay, so I'll make a motion on what we can do, which is to reduce the fee for a permit for town landfill to $15, which is the state fee, so we're passing that on to them.
Mhm.
We're increasing it to 15 because we already formally got rid of it.
Yeah, I don't know what
But
we
it's-
got, but I make a motion that we set the town landfill permit fee at $15.
Okay. I'll second it.
All right, second, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those against,
Abstain.
and one abstention. All right,
One recusal.
and one recusal.
Thank you, Lexi.
Yeah, thank you for all that.
I hope it was somewhat clear.
Yeah.
It was.
I understand that it gets confusing for a lot of people,
Yep.
but I see that as kind of part of my job to try and make things
Educate.
understandable to people.
Yep.
So
Thank you for coming, thanks for the time, thanks for
I
your work.
appreciate you taking the time to consider it.
And thank you for being zoning administrator for 9 years. That's more than most people make.
All right, back to new business. We have, who's got the green folder? So we have some appointments to make we decide how we want to do this. So there's 2 people that have applied to be on the DRB as alternates for now. Patricia Adler, who we've met, and
Oh,
Christine
Nope, we don't
Gitt.
have that one.
Well, she sent a letter.
She did send a letter.
Oh, nope. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, where'd it
I
go?
only saw
She
Christine's.
was in Tallinn, she was on the zoning board of appeals, where she was chairman of the zoning board of
So
appeals.
I'll have to go back and look at
Multiple
email. 'Cause
years.
If you haven't seen it, we can hold that till the next meeting, which would be fine. We do have the letter from Christine to be an alternate, so we can handle that one now and then handle the other one in 2 weeks. I don't know anything.
There's two people that wanted to be on the rec board,
Right,
but they haven't sent anything in.
that's right. So the
There's
rec
only a
board,
recommendation from Nate.
that's right. So we'll ask May for the rec board for them to send actual
Right.
interest letters.
Yeah.
And what I was gonna say for Patricia and Christine.
Priscilla.
Priscilla Presley, now I'm gonna remember it. And I know it's Priscilla. We've already met them. And so, let's get a letter from Priscilla.
Well, you already have that.
I think I've got it. I assumed it went to everybody. So
I didn't see it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so we have it. Let me look. Is your email your last name, I hope?
It's P.
Do you guys use the
It's
same email?
No, it's Paddler 2MD.
There it was. All right. Cemetery committee appointment. Well, I've seen it, so I don't know where it is. It's not in my email from her directly. So, can we have her send a new one to everybody?
Yeah,
Or just
just
resend
an
it.
email.
Resend it.
All right.
Do we want to have Christine come in, or since we already know her, do we want to just vote on appointing her? I'm open to anything.
Yeah.
I'm fine with
I'm
it.
fine with that.
All right. So I'll make a motion. We appoint Christine Gepp as an alternate to the
Can you
DRB.
appoint your own wife to a position?
Oh yeah. Maybe we're not married. Yeah. I won't vote on this at all.
Yeah, you
I'll
can.
abstain from this. Good point.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Christine Gepp to the Development Review Board as an alternate.
I'll second it.
You can take the vote. Or,
Okay. Those that are in favor of appointing her, say aye.
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 And I'll abstain.
Okay.
All right. And then we will. Do you want to send a letter to Maeve
I can send her an email.
asking
Yeah.
asking them to send 2 letters from
Yeah.
those folks, and you'll ask your Priscilla.
Yeah.
All right. We have this is late breaking news. We got the Agency of Transportation certification of town mileage that came in.
Mm-hmm.
It's already filled out. It's same as was last year. There's no change, but we need to sign it so we get it sent back.
Yeah.
Unless somebody has any questions on our class 2 roads. Hey, Peanut Gallery.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. We certify the
Almost
AOT
got it.
certification for Dummerston roads.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
The class ones are through us, is that why? Is that what
Yeah, we don't have any.
class
Yeah.
Multi-lane road, that's
Yeah.
what I thought, but
Yep. In case you wanted to know, we've got 79 miles of roads.
Yeah.
It's always interesting to see.
You need to put your John.
Yep.
on that.
All those in favor of signing?
No, I had a question. I don't remember if I got to see that. Does anyone have, is there anything controversial about it or that you,
No.
anybody had a
No.
question?
No. This is strictly how many miles of roads do we have in town?
Okay,
And Lee completed it.
Lee completed it.
okay.
Lee and Lori did it, which is the best way to go. So all those in favor of signing the AOT certificate of highway mileage, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? It says signatures, please sign signatures of selectmen, aldermen, or trustees. I don't know if they want all of us, I'm just gonna sign it. Well, you can all sign it. Why not?
Yeah, I think in the past we've
Yeah.
all signed it.
If we all sign it, then it's, don't have to come back and go, I need 4 signatures. We also have a contract that was in new business for Vermouth or Vermouth, I think it's pronounced here.
Vermouth.
Yeah, I pronounce it Vermouth. Computer services, so I believe do consulting on our NEMREC computers. So it's not a financial number, it's just a contract with them that if we need services, they will come provide services and what the rules are. And that money would come out of general funding. So I'll make a motion to approve the contract for Vermouth Computer Consulting for next year.
I'll
Does
second
gin
it.
come with that?
Yeah, I know. And an olive. Any discussion?
Is this recommended by people who use it? Like, what, does Laurie use this?
Yeah,
And if she recommends?
yeah. Yep. We've worked with Loyal. I've been here for 3 years. They just come in and do computer work for us. I think it's mostly hardware.
Okay.
Because NEMREC, I think, handles most software. All right, so all those in favor of signing the computer consultation contract, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against. All right. We're at the end of the line. Does anybody have anything we haven't talked about? I think I've covered the agenda. The next meeting There's a regular meeting 2 weeks from tonight. We'll go back to 2-week rotations here for regular meetings. And then when we're done here, we'll stay and finalize the budget.
You want all of us to sign the,
Yeah, let's all sign it. You know what, just sign everything.
Wait, when are we finalizing budget tonight or then?
We're trying to finalize it tonight.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
so leave it that way so we don't
Okay.
have to thumb through it again.
And of note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 warrants to sign, so make sure you sign 7 items. Not counting what you're signing now, and then the minutes, Paul, just make sure you sign those. Does anybody have anything else?
Just a quick question. Does the board finalize the articles to go before town meeting?
At our next meeting.
You're gonna do that besides the budget at next meeting?
Yeah.
Hopefully the budget's gonna be done now.
We're hoping to get all the numbers in place
Okay,
tonight.
okay, thank you.
Yes, anyways, John.
And next meeting, we'll have this will be published before the agenda.
Oh, I see.
The company that's doing the cell tower,
Oh, yeah,
he's gonna
right.
come and answer questions,
Wow.
talk about it, so we'll make sure everybody knows if you wanna come and talk
We're gonna have a
about
long meeting next time.
it. Let's see. But that'll go out from Lori probably next week, a week ahead of time. Or something like that. And if we get a lot of input, we may move it to the community center. We'll see. All right, I'll make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second. All right, so we're done.